I do not clip coupons, I don't buy in bulk, and I definitely don't have a grocery store membership because it's actually a whole lot simpler, cheaper, and healthier to do what I do instead. In this video, I'm going to share your February grocery guide and tell you what you should buy and avoid at the grocery store. Give you breakfast, lunch, and dinner meal ideas using from-scratch seasonal ingredients that you can quickly get on the table, and share ways to do so on a budget that allows you to stock your pantry without breaking the bank. And after that, or sprinkled in between, is our usual kitchen table talk because I have a major pantry win. Perhaps my best ever. I'm gonna try to fix my face as I say this, but you just can't show up at the grocery store without a game plan. And that's exactly why I give you the monthly grocery guide. If you leave home without that, the tactics that the grocery stores employ will get the better of your budget every single time. So paired with this video is a grocery guide that I emailed to you, and a lot of you already have. And it includes 4 recipe cards that you can cut and tuck in your recipe box or binder. And that's what I'm gonna be reading from. And you're welcome for aligning the recipes with yearly sales cycles that are in effect no matter where you shop. And remember, you're gonna wanna meal prep around these foods because these are the crops that are readily available and abundant right now. Which means those prices are gonna be at their lowest due to reduce transportation and storage costs. And as I read this list, think about what your preservation plan will be. Because in addition to buying some fresh, you also need to consider, say it with me, are you gonna can some, freeze it, ferment it, dehydrate it, whatever, so that you have enough to last when you can no longer source it inexpensively or grow it yourself. All right, so the vegetables that you want to meal plan around this month include, we're first going to talk about your root vegetables, so things like beets, carrots, parsnips, turnips, rutabagas, radishes, sweet potatoes, and just your regular potatoes. Then also you have your leafy greens, so things like kale, collard greens, Swiss chard, mustard greens, spinach, cabbage. Next, we have an assortment of your brassicas, so your Brussels sprouts, broccoli, cauliflower, bok choy. Then your allium, so things like your onions, red, yellow, and white, leeks, shallots, garlic, and scallions. Then you also have your squashes, and y'all know I love squash. Last year, I felt like I just had so many squash recipes that I shared, so definitely check out that playlist. But you have an assortment like your butternut, acorn, spaghetti squash, delicata, kabocha, and Hubbard. Oh my goodness. Mushrooms. Oh, you guys know I love my mushrooms. So some of these are available year round. For others, it's kind of like their peak season. So you're having like your shiitake, oyster, your portobello, and your button and cremini mushrooms. And then you also have your cold weather and hardy crops like celery, fennel, endive, chicory, and radicchio. And the fruits that you want to meal plan around include your citrus fruits, and we are in peak season for those. So things like your oranges, your navel, blood, car, and Valencia, your mandarins, so clementines, your tangelos, tangerines, grapefruits, lemons, limes. You also have your apples. So these are more of like the very late fall varieties, and some are still like crisp if they're available. So you'll have like your Fuji, Gala, Honey Crisp, Granny Smith, Pink Lady, Red Delicious. Oh, now isn't that a long list? I'd say that you have lots of variety when it comes to your winter foods. Now those of y'all that aren't new to the pantry chats, well, you already know what February is. National Canned Food Month. Yep, dates back to 1987. And this month you are going to find sales across the widest spectrum of your canned food categories. And sweetheart, it gets even better because I have 2 100% canned food recipes that you could cook using just one pan in less than 2 minutes that you can heat and eat now or put it in the freezer for later.
Don't blink or you'll miss this recipe, which uses just 5 canned ingredients. I love this dish because it has mild Moroccan flavors and is packed with protein while also being high in fiber. It's creamy, tender, and filling, which is exactly what you want to eat on a cold winter day. Don't mind the frost on the pan, I was storing it in the freezer. Anywho, get ready to crack open your cans and dump away, my dear. First, a can of lentils, followed by fire-roasted diced red tomatoes, and then after that, we're going to add some green chilies. Side note, I love this can opener, by the way. It's designed for hand fatigue and just glides while opening. Plus, it has this magnet that safely lifts the lid away from the food. It doesn't open my home can jars, but for store-bought, it's perfect. I'll link it. And next, you're going to dump in 2 cans of garbanzo beans, or some folks call them chickpeas. Now we're going to add your coconut milk, and this is what really pulls this recipe all together. I mean, look at how rich and creamy this coconut milk is. It immediately makes this a hearty stew. So you're going to add this to your pan, and then you want to make sure that you give everything a really good stir to combine, just like so. Okay, now we're going to add some seasonings, and this is our lineup. We have some cumin, turmeric, pepper, cinnamon, and salt. The primary seasoning is cumin, like 1 to 2 tablespoons, followed by lesser amounts of the others, but it's also truly to taste. So, yeah, just go ahead and taste it. After all of the ingredients are already fully cooked, they're just cold. And once I sampled mine, it was good, but I did want to just amp up a little bit of the cumin. I wrote down the amounts in your grocery guide recipe, so don't worry. And voila, madame, your meal is ready for the freezer. Here's another recipe that we love, and in a bit, I'm going to show you how they both cook up after being in the oven. You'll need artichokes, tomato paste, Great Northern beans, Kalamata olives, and diced tomatoes. All right, it's time to dump and mix away. Now, as you'll notice, I am using very simple staple ingredients here that aren't swirling in high amounts of salt, sugar, or add-ins, which shows that fast, delicious meals can be prepared with basic pantry ingredients. So don't reach for overpriced pre-mixed stuff that costs more and gives you less. Now, this is more of a Mediterranean dish, and the olives will add all of the salt that you need, which is why I only add these herbs after I mix all this stuff together. This pairs perfectly with Italian spices or even just straight up oregano. You really want to add a hefty amount. And then I'll just add some smoked paprika. It just gives it, I don't know, this extra little like undertone that's there. And that is all you need. Maybe a little bit of pepper. Again, no salt. And then you're going to go ahead and combine everything all together. Goodness, that meal came in at less time than the previous one. I just love my canned to freezer meals. All right, so now let's defrost our meals. And I like grabbing one of my fridge bins to place my pans in as they defrost in the refrigerator. And then that way the water just collects at the bottom of the bins and not, all over the place. All right, so it's the evening of the same day, and I'm popping these pans in the oven. I also made a pan of stovetop rice that I'm adding to the bowl for the base of the Moroccan dish. Y'all, look at how beautiful this dish comes out for just 2 minutes worth of work. It looks like it's been simmering all day. Ladle plenty of your coconut broth over your rice and enjoy a delicious, nutritious meal. Now let's take our second dish out of the oven, and man, I just love how hearty this one is, with chunks of tomatoes, tender artichokes, creamy beans, and olives. You will love adding toasted bread to scoop up this dense soup. You'll find the recipes in this month's grocery guide. If this is our first time meeting, hi, I'm Cassandra from the blog becomingaffarmgirl.com, and I'm here to help you shop with what's on sale, in season, and better yet, already on your shelf. And you can get my free monthly grocery guide by clicking the link in the description box or in the pinned comment below. Okay, now raise your hand if you were here for last month's pantry chat. Well, that's about most of y'all, but you saw how I was able to score so many items ranging from meats to vegetables and condiments just because January is a time when stores are really reducing their inventory that wasn't, taken up from the holidays. And I am telling you, February can still be another awesome month because what tends to click over in January and February is the expiration date that's on a lot of packages. It says, the former year. And so stores really want to push that inventory out. I am telling you that I'm getting ready to show you. I don't even need to tell you. I'm going to take you into stores and show you the deals that I have been finding on brands. It is incredible. Now, here is the thing, and I'm going to go ahead and pop up the link and probably put something on the screen, but there really isn't an expiration date for foods as long as they are stored properly. I think the only thing that has a hard expiration date is baby formula. Other than that, expiration dates are set by the actual manufacturers, and really what they call them is a best buy or best used by date. And so, eventually things, yes, do reduce in quality, but the timeline that you have for that food to be still safe, flavorful, and nutritious is much longer than you think it is. And so a lot of the items that I have recently purchased, I have about a year, maybe 8 months, if I'm going by that date. And honestly, a lot of these items are going to be gone by then. But even if they're not, I'm not worried about it because I am telling you, I saved hundreds of dollars on this grocery trip. So this store is called Giant, and if you don't have one, it kind of equates to a Publix. Oh my goodness, look at this organic low sugar syrup that I found for 60% off. $3.08 a bottle. Yes, that's a price I much prefer to pay over nearly $8. And then to my surprise, I found organic, non-GMO, and gluten-free coconut flour for $1.50. Now the spelt flour was only 20% off, but a sale nonetheless. Now, my biggest win was this matcha powder, which is always expensive, and I have never seen it priced this low, 75% off. It's culinary grade, and matcha has some pretty impressive health benefits. I grabbed 6. My dad loves stevia, so I grabbed a couple boxes of these for just $1.12. Now, I've never tried this brand, but the ingredient list was simple and clean, and for $1.37, I'll try this barbecue sauce.
Now here's a sheet pan meal that's just as great for dinner as it is for breakfast.
Sheet pan meals are another way that I like to cook when the week has the potential to get away from me. I line it with a silicone baking mat for easy cleanup. I've had this one for years. Anywho, this meal starts with diced ham, which will bake in the oven for just a few minutes since it's already cooked. And when it comes out of the oven, we'll just plate it and set it to the side. Then add some kale to the same sheet pan, and you're going to drizzle it with olive oil. And then next, go ahead and use your hands to massage the oil into the kale. And then you'll sprinkle it with just a little bit of salt to taste. Pop it back in the oven for about 4 to 6 minutes. And then when you take it out, you're going to create about 4 to 6 spaces, like I'm doing right here, because you are going to add a cracked egg in each space. Okay, now grab that ham that we cooked earlier and you're gonna sprinkle that on top of the kale. Whoa, this looks so good, right? And also, this ham could be, turkey or chicken, tuna. I mean, I've tried it all. And then after this, all you do is just season it up a bit. I think all I'm adding is pepper to this, and that's it. Whoopsies! I almost forgot to add the feta crumbled cheese, but you can use whatever cheese you have or prefer. And what comes out of the oven is this beautiful sheet pan meal that is meaty, it's cheesy, high protein, and has a hearty serving of veggies. And to eat it, you just scoop everything on your fork and get ready for a mouthful of flavor. And oh, you can also switch the greens from kale to Swiss chard, mustard, or collard greens. I mean, you can't go wrong.
Crusty bread, smoked salmon, and did you say cheese? Yes, please.
Now this recipe starts with the fish of your choice. I'm using some fresh seasoned salmon that I picked up from Aldi. No, it's not wild caught, but I haven't been able to catch a sale on that recently, and these taste really good. So you'll cook that. And while that's baking, you're going to take a loaf of bread and you're going to hollow out the middle. So this bread is another cheat code. And yes, I do make my own. However, there's a grocery store near me, it's Wise, and they mark down items from their bakery. And they have loaves of bread like this that are marked down to like 80 cents. So yes, I will grab, 2 to 3 at a time, tuck them in the freezer. And if I'm baking my bread like this, it's perfect because you don't know that it's not the freshest, piece of bread. So it's not for sandwich eating, but perfect for baking. Next, you're going to take some cheese, and what I have on hand is a mix of Swiss and cheddar, and I'm going to grate these two. You can and should use whatever cheese you have on hand. You really can't go wrong on this part, and I switch things up with this all the time. All right, so you're gonna mix up your cheeses after you grate them, but don't forget to pull the salmon out of the oven like I almost did. You're gonna let your salmon cool and then just like fork it so that you can spread it evenly across your bread loaf. And by the way, this slab of salmon was so big that I only used about half of the salmon you see here, and I rolled the other half into a different recipe. And then you're gonna top off with cheese, lots of it. And after that, you'll crack several eggs and add in either sour cream, creme fraiche, or leftover spinach dip like I am. And this helps to impart even more flavor. And then you'll transfer the salmon boat to a baking dish, pour the egg mixture into the boats, and grab some capers, which contain quercetin. It's a supplement that many people actually buy, but it's high in concentrations just by eating capers. They add a really good tangy-ish punch that is easily hidden because it complements the salmon and the cheese so well. Bake it for like another 10 minutes, and when you pull it out, look at this beautiful salmon boat. This is so good, and looking at this now makes me want to make it again. Let me go ahead and cut it in half and show you all of this goodness. It's hot, it's warm, and delicious. You've got to try this. Y'all, I'm going to plop this cutting board right in the center of the kitchen table, grab 2 plates, and dinner is done.
Now, whether you're keto or just trying to add in more veggies, this savory soup feels too decadent to be this healthy.
Let me go on and clarify this for some of y'all. I'm intentionally starting with the pan that I cooked bacon in this morning. So what you see here is cooled down grease, and it's going to impart wonderful flavor for this next meal. So you're going to start with some sesame seed oil and then add your chicken thighs to brown on each side. But then while that's going, you're going to grab your ginger, remove the skin, and then chop it so that you can grate about several tablespoons. Now let's get back to the stove so we can flip over the chicken. Now this part of the meal makes you almost want to stop cooking because the combination of this chicken frying and a little bit of bacon grease and then the sesame seed oil, oh my goodness, it's so fragrant right now. So next, you're going to heat up a heavy bottom pot seasoned with the fat of your choice, and I'm using some tallow. And then you're going to add chopped onion, the ginger, and lots of garlic if you love it as much as I do. And then after that, you're going to add some more sesame seed oil, followed by the broth of your choice. And I'm using a combination of chicken broth that I made earlier in the week, along with some that I've canned. I'm telling you, what takes this recipe to the nth degree is my home canned stock. And so I've used a combination of chicken, ham broth, and then I think this is some corn stock. It's 3 different ones. And it makes it so flavorful and good. So while our broth and the onions and garlic are simmering up, we're going to make cauliflower rice. So here's just some cauliflower crowns that I've already kind of de-stemmed. I mean, I have the stems in there because they're edible. And so you're just going to add them to your blender, give them a couple of pulses until they're the texture that you prefer. So next you're going to add your cauliflower rice, and how much you add depends on how much broth you're starting out with and the density that you prefer. And a way to kind of finagle this is with an ingredient that is optional, but xanthan gum does help to thicken things up as your ingredients simmer on the stove. Now, since I've used a lot of cauliflower rice, I don't need as much. This is also tasteless. Now let's cut up our tender and savory chicken thighs like so. And then we're going to season up our soup with a little bit of seasoned salt, red pepper flakes for a mild kick, a little bit of black pepper, smoked paprika, and then you're just going to slide in that chicken. I especially enjoy this dish as a filling, healthy, hearty soup that doesn't weigh you down with too many starches. Plus, it is very easy to digest and soft to chew and swallow if you've got a sore throat or maybe even a health condition that prevents you from chewing or swallowing normally. My recommendations for final touches include maybe adding a bit more sweet rice wine vinegar, chopped scallions, and then you're going to ladle all that goodness into a bowl. And because it is so richly flavored with the chicken broth, the herbs, the spices, the vinegar, and oil, it's almost hard to detect that it's cauliflower. It comes across as a brothy hot cereal, similar-ish to cream of wheat, I'd say, just in texture, of course not in taste. Now here's the thing, if you were served this at a restaurant, it could easily go for $12 to $15 for a single bowl. But made at home, your total cost for that huge pot I just made is that price. And that, my friend, is why I prefer my kitchen over eating out.
So my weekday workday breakfast has always been some version of oatmeal. I bake it, I freeze it, and fry it because it's the only thing that will stick to my ribs so that I'm not rummaging through my lunchbox by 10 o'clock. And so actually my brother is the same way, but he's switching his diet to more keto, which is why I've got to share this breakfast replacement for oatmeal that has that same mouthfeel, but without the carbs.
You are going to love this breakfast recipe. So it starts by adding the milk of your choice to a warm pan. And then you're going to measure out your hemp seeds, which are high in omega-3s and protein. I was obviously still asleep doing this because my measuring cup fits in this jar, so this was needlessly messy. So after that, you're going to add ground flaxseed, which is excellent for lowering cholesterol, blood sugar, and inflammation. It has a mild nutty flavor. Then I'm going to scoop in a lesser amount of chia seeds, which are a prebiotic and help with gut health and contain excellent levels of calcium, magnesium, and phosphorus, which are essential for maintaining maintaining strong bones. Then you're gonna add the sweetener of your choice. Now, more recently, I've been using Swerve brown sugar. It's 0 calorie, non-glycemic, and measures cup for cup like sugar, and it's made from urethol and allulose. It is spot on, and it doesn't have an aftertaste like I pick up with stevia, but you only still want to use a little. So then I'll pour in some homemade vanilla extract, Ceylon cinnamon, and then stir everything and scoop it into a bowl. All right, so right now I'm just showing you a texture shot. See, it's very similar to a cream of wheat or quick oats oatmeal, but it packs significantly more nutrients, again, without the carbs. I'm telling you, you have got to give this one a try. From here, you can top with whatever you prefer. I'm adding a handful of slathered almonds, a little bit more Ceylon cinnamon, stirring it together, and this is the perfect nutrient-dense meal to start your day.
So we are in the season of citrus, so your lemons and your limes and your grapefruit. And what I'm going to tell you is do not sleep on it because, oh, they just taste amazing this time of year, especially with this recipe. All right, bear with me, y'all. The sun is like shifting behind me and I feel like it's getting a little dark. Okay, but I loved orange creamsicles growing up as a child, and honestly, I mean, still to this day. But the more that I really start to look through ingredients that we purchase, it is it's shocking what you think you're getting and eating, but really the ingredients are something different. Because look at this, I'm just gonna bring up my phone. So this is a grocery store. I know that I feel like this chain isn't everywhere, but you know, it is giant food, and you can then scroll down. It shows you like the nutrition facts, and this is like the creamsicles by Good Humor brand, and then you can look here at the ingredients. So I'm going to now read to you the ingredients. Non-fat milk, corn syrup, water, maltodextrin, high fructose corn syrup, sugar, cream, fructose, corn syrup solids, whey, orange juice concentrate, mono and diglycerides, polypraline, glycomoester, citric acid, malic acid, cellulose gel, guar gum, polysorbate 80, locust bean gum, cellulose gum, natural flavor, ascorbic acid, carrageenan, annatto extract for color, vitamin A, palmitate. Ugh, can we say yikes? Well, at least now, anytime the craving strikes, I have a nutrient-dense replica of this recipe that's actually healthy for you and uses 4 ingredients we all can pronounce.
Okay, so you're gonna start with like 6 to 8 ripe oranges, which you'll just need to juice. Now, I was not in a rush, so I did this part by hand, but you could absolutely put these into a blender. Then you're going to get an ice cube tray. So this just happens to be an extra large silicone tray that I keep on hand for various projects. And you're going to pour your juice into the ice cubes. And a hack that I have learned from farm girls here on the channel is to slide a cutting board under soft items like silicone to make transporting it easier. Because this tray needs to go into the freezer for at least 5 to 6 hours and up to overnight. Now, when it's time to make your orange cream smoothie, grab your blender and then pop out an ice cube or 2 of frozen juice. And to your blender, you're also going to add a splash of vanilla and a spoon or 2 of raw honey. And since it's not heated, the honey will be keeping its nutritive properties. Then you're going to fill your container with heavy cream and then place your lid on top to blend away. Now, don't be fooled just because you don't see the bright orange color. That's completely artificial chemicals that companies use. Instead, you've got the real thing, my dear, and you'll be shocked at how spot on the taste still is. Now, if you're feeling fancy, you can add a little bit of whipped cream topping, and I'm so sorry that the shot is so bright that you really couldn't see, but y'all, this is what I call a healthy dessert, and it is my favorite way to enjoy raw milk.
So earlier in the video, I shared that I don't have a store membership to anywhere. I mean, sometimes my mom's in town, I'll go shopping with her at BJ's. But other than that, I shop at regular grocery stores because I have found, at least for a small family, you can still stockpile even at those stores without the cost of a membership. However, what I have found, and there's some degree of variance, is that at your kind of chain grocery stores, the options of truly healthy, nutrient-dense foods is starting to get more more and more narrow, right? Like there are ingredients that are available on Azure Standard that I'm not as likely to find at a regular grocery store. Now, I truly love Azure Standard and what it stands for, but when I tried it earlier this summer, the little hiccup that I ran into is that because I work full-time during the day, at the drop-off spots that are near me, you can only go, like you have to be there at that particular time. And sometimes if it's during a weekday, which most of them are, I won't be able to make it. And so logistically, I know that sometimes you can like pay for somebody else to pick up your stuff. It was more than I was able to do. And so for me, Azure is more of an option that I can use during the summer when I have a more flexible work schedule, but I can't do that during the school year. I wish I could find where I came across this stat. I think it was in a podcast that I was listening to, but it said that if these companies that are offering us products with inferior ingredients in them would lose just 5% of their sales, that would be enough for them to start pivoting their strategy and actually giving consumers what they want and what they don't. So I do think that it is important to divert as much of your food dollars away from these companies. I hope that I've been transparent along this journey because I am by no means perfect on this. And I'm truly just trying to show how you can incrementally kind of work your food budget, think about your kitchen systems so that you can move closer towards this direction. So for example, yes, when I started to shop at the farmer's market, maybe 6 or 7 years ago now, it was going to the seconds kind of bins. And the seconds bins are like large volumes of food. Normally you have like a huge box of like tomatoes that are going to be ripe in the next day or two, and they're at a steep discount. So like that was my entry level into the farmer's market because it was still affordable and it wasn't a shock to my budget. And then plus at this time, as I started to like, before I got to buying seconds, I was already very familiar with canning. And so yes, it feels so good to be able to see all those second boxes and to be able to know like what to do with them. Oh, there's gonna be shelf stable in my pantry for like a competitive price that is significantly less expensive than the jars of organic pasta or whatever else, because I can just make all those things myself. And the win was that my food dollars were going to a local family that I know, like, and trust. And so for the way I shop, it's kind of hard for me to have a food subscription service because I like the flexibility that I have to like be very modular in my kitchen and to kind of, come over here for like this sale and stock up on items so that then maybe if I do need to pay full price this month, I have this here, but it's coming from like my reserve because I'm way under budget this month because of X, Y, and Z. And so I think that's why, well, that is exactly why you don't see me kind of with these subscription services. But here was one thing, because I am seeking to improve year after year, and that's what's going to allow us to take the reins back as consumers. So one thing that I have loved is something that is called Farm Match, and it is a network of farmers that are local to your area that are offering their products. So this is anywhere from meats to dairy to, baked goods. I mean, pretty much all of the items that you can think of. And those dollars are going straight towards not, even larger companies, but families that have dedicated, their livelihood to providing quality products. And when I think about where my food dollars can do the most good, it is always by putting that money into the hands of someone who is already in my community. So I have been using Farm Match for the past couple of months, and you know what? I love it because I can either do it's not a subscription at all for anyone. And so I can go in and order each week, or I can put some things on like standing rotation, or I can put an order in this week and not the following week. And what I love about it is that, to be honest, I don't always, like, the other reason why I'm wary of subscriptions is because I don't need to put $100 as a minimum order or like a $60 as a minimum kind of thing every single time. But for Farm Match, I can just go into a local Amish farm and get the heavy cream, a quart size for my coffee, and that's it. Or maybe I'm getting like some cream and a half gallon of raw milk, some cheeses, and that's it. It really is filling in what I need. And I'm allowed and I'm able to be flexible, with the food dollars that I have for that week. These are also ingredients that I am not finding in a store. I'm building community with the people that also have their farm pickup because the items are in coolers. And what's really awesome is that there was one time that I had to reach out to the person because I was going, actually no, here's what happened. So I had forgotten to pick up something in my order, and so she texted me and I was thinking, oh no, like I can't come back out tonight. She was like, sweetheart, no problem, like just come over like tomorrow morning. It's been so great. And here's the thing, I'm getting personalized emails like from the woman who is baking these einkorn sticky buns that are delicious, and it's all of the ingredients that I want in my food and I don't, right? Like even at these health food stores, Whole Foods, there's a couple near me, even in the things that you think are healthy, they still have seed oils in them, questionable, like what is this chemical exactly? It's really frustrating because they haven't done the, they're parsing through a lot of things, but also a lot more than you think is getting in. I'm going to leave a link for Farm Match in the description box or in the pinned comment so that you can check it out for yourself. And I'm not paid for this, it's not a sponsorship. I shop at Farm Match. And what I love about sharing this is that like the money that you spend there is going to go not towards like some big organization that's already doing well. Again, as I said, it's going straight towards your community, and we need to have robust food systems that are spread out across our country. And y'all, I'm really excited that this is an opportunity that we can really make an impact.
Oh my goodness, once you've had double raw cream, which is delicious. Oh my goodness, it is so decadent, but also so nutrient dense. There's omega-3s, tons of nutrients. It's fermented. So I get this every single week. You just saw how thick it is. I put this little lid on top that I love. It just makes it kind of easier to pour. But this is something that I get almost every week. And I just use it. I pour a little bit in my cup of coffee and it's just taking it like over the top. Another thing I like about my Farm Match is that I am able to get access to raw cheese. So I think Whole Foods and like Mom's Organic Market does sell it, but it's in those tiny packages of like 4 to 6 ounces, which is nothing. But now I can get a half a pound of cheese. This is this the Hearty or the smoked Gouda? Oh, they're so good. Again, raw cheese doesn't contain synthetic additives, preservatives, or artificial ingredients and retains more of its natural nutrients. So I'm super excited that I have access to raw cheese.
Okay, so this month's Pantry Chat has an after party edition because I have pantry updates / oh my gosh, I am actually becoming a farm girl updates. And I have been giving you a subtle hint throughout the entire video. Look at what I'm wearing. Yes, I have a hunting update. Now I know all the farm girls aren't into that sort of thing, so honey, thank you for stopping by and I'll see you next month. And those of y'all that were able to watch last month's yearly update video already know this news, but I also know that not everyone could sit through that marathon of a video. So I'm gonna share it again here. So I'm gonna be freestyling this part of the video, plus you are about to see field dressing. And you know what? When a hunter has a story, they cannot be rushed. So are you tracking? Okay, good. I'm so glad you decided to stay. Okay, so this past November marked my 1-year anniversary in learning how to hunt. And the gist of it is that I love this show that comes on every Tuesday. It's called Maryland Farm and Harvest, and it's hosted by Joanne Clendenning. And it features like the farmers that produce things, throughout the state. And I heard about this program that is called Becoming an Outdoor Woman. And basically, it's a program that's designed specifically for women to teach them outdoor skills. The great thing is that nearly every single state in the country has this program. And so on one of the programs that I was watching, I heard about this program and I went online and I was like, oh my gosh, like look at all these programs that are here. It's fishing and canning and camping and hunting and all these different things. And I'm certain that I clicked through like all of the different options. And I was so excited to kind of be like, when am I gonna get into the next event? But instead, it was crickets for nearly a year. Yeah, so at that point, I pretty much given up on the program. I would get some emails about things, but I would have to, take off of work. And so, yeah, but then an email came in saying that I had like 24 hours to respond because I had been selected to be a part of this hunting cohort. So y'all, not to brag, I have been to a shooting range a couple of times with my husband to shoot handguns, which it really like wasn't my thing. Like my husband likes handguns. But the first time that I went to target practice with the mentors and we were all using long arms, I'm telling you, I got that rifle in my hand and it just like, actually not even your hand, right? It's your entire body. And I think that it's something about like it going across the length of your body. You need to have like, you're zoned in, like you're dialed in, and the focus that you have. And y'all, I was a natural shotgun girl. Oh my gosh, all of my shots. And I tried like muzzle loaders, like all these different things. Like those mentors have some like expensive like equipment, like guns that were like thousands of dollars. But all of my shots from the 40 and 50 yard line landed on the target. And I say that to say all the other mentees were like, girl, when you go out, you're definitely gonna come back with something. But I didn't. And I went on like 5 different hunts last season. And y'all, it's much more difficult than you think because you don't always have, you know, the right shot, or maybe like the wind is giving off your scent because you're like not in the right location for your blind. It's just like, it's a whole thing. But meanwhile, there were other mentees that were going out and on their first and second hunts, you know, they got their first like buck or doe. And you know what? Deer season passed, turkey season passed, and I kind of felt like I did in my late 20s where I was like, Dad, everyone's getting married. When is it going to be my turn? Plus, I had already shared the news with y'all that I had gotten into this program, and so I saw the comments that were like, hey, just checking in about hunting, you know, how's it going? And I was like, I have no updates. But I actually kind of did, because what I started to realize was happening is that as I was going out on these hunts, my mentor V is just like, and hunters in general, I am just in awe of how much they are able to read the natural environment, right? Like, you know, in the way that you can read a map with like street signs and whatever else? No, they're like, okay, this is growing here, so this animal has been here. We're looking at these droppings here. Do you notice that have a footprint here? Do you see how this twig is bent in a northeast direction? I mean, it is just, it is incredible. And so this is actually where I started to learn that there were a number of herbs that I could start foraging, because I also like to keep a very small like apothecary, and at this time I was buying 100%, you know, of my herbs. And so if you have seen some of my herb videos, that's where I started to realize, wow, like in my bioregion, there are things that I am buying, but like because I only know what the dried form looks like, here's the fresh form, it's right here, here's when it's available. And y'all, that's when my herbalist journey, I mean, I'm not like trying to be a professional herbalist or whatever else, just for like my own, you know, home needs. But that's when that really started to take off. So I work in a school system, and right before the winter break, my mentor reached out to me and she said that there was a call for hunters at this specific location, and did I want to go? Of course I told her yes, because maybe this year my luck would change. Oh my goodness, can it get any colder? It is 12 degrees this morning. I'm waiting for my mentor to arrive. She has the code to the, there you can see it, there's the keypad over there to the gate. So yeah, it was another unsuccessful day. After 7 hours of sitting in a blind in Arctic temperatures, to say I was frustrated was an understatement. But I didn't give up. I suited and booted up the next day. And you know, it was pretty much the same as usual. So we were sitting in this blind that the area had actually set up for us the week before, which is awesome because deer are very perceptive. And so if you set it up on the same like morning that you go into the woods, they're gonna be like, you weren't here, I'm gonna stay away from this area. But if it's like there over a period of days, they're like, oh yeah, like that's been there. And so yeah, we were in our blind, and then across from us, and it's just, it is so gorgeous, y'all. Like when you think about these like farm scenes that are extremely bucolic that they used to paint, you know, 100 years ago, it captures it so well in a way that my cell phone just like, it doesn't capture the frost in the morning. But anyways, there was this sorghum field across from us, but the color of a deer's coat matches almost exactly with the sorghum. And then if they are at that same height, like my mentor was like, they're over there, you know, but like it's going to be hard to see them. And so, and then there are periods of the day where like they're bedded down and just yada yada. So we were out there all the next day, and we had like still 2 hours before we could take our last shot. And actually during this time, y'all, I had even like dozed off for 30 minutes, and I woke up and I was like, oh, V, I'm so sorry I took a nap. She's like, honey, you're fine. All hunters do that. And so, yeah, I was like, did I miss anything? She was like, no, yeah, like, you're fine. And so I just knew that like nothing was going to happen until out of the corner of my eye, there is this doe that is just moseying on in. But ooh, before I share this, okay, so the time period that we were going, so this was December 24th, and although I do have the Mossberg 500 shotgun, I could not use that during like this time period. Like during different seasons, you have to shoot with different things. And so V had brought her muzzle loader, which I hadn't shot a muzzle loader from like a year ago at target practice. But when I did, y'all, I hit the target. And so with a muzzle loader, it's very different because as you're holding it, and she has like this awesome scope on it, but like you slowly like pull the trigger back. You just don't like go boop, you know, you don't do that. But like you roll it back and then that shot just like comes out. But y'all, I don't even know how to describe it. Like I saw it and I was like, okay guys, here we go. Like you've got this. So I had it in my arms and I went for it. This is gonna be burned in my memory forever. I'm shaking with adrenaline. I just shot my first doe.
So in case more deer come.
Okay, I just did it.
I'm gonna get you reloaded.
Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay. Wow. Wow. I mean, because we've seen smaller ones, and I was okay with that.
So this is usually how you take the photo.
Oh.
The gun. You shot her in the neck.
Oh.
Looks like. Unless, no, she was facing that way. So yeah, it went in here and through her lungs on the other side. So,
Okay.
but here, you can get behind her.
Oh, wow.
Go through her sternum a little bit. And this is where I need my actual good knife. Whoa. So that's the lungs. And you punctured this one.
Yep, I see it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, okay.
And you just kind of roll this out. Sometimes it gets a little caught. In which case you'll have to grab the knife again.
So at this point, my phone is ringing off the hook because I hadn't reached out to, you know, my family or Trey, and you always want to cascade your hunting plan, like when you're leaving, where you're going, you know, where you are, when you've left, like that kind of thing. And so, I mean, we were just like so busy, but I did finally get a chance to call my dad. Hey, Dad. Sorry, I'm just calling you so late. I haven't even left yet.
What? Did you get anything?
Well, let me walk you around to the truck. What's this look like to you, Dad?
Whoa!
She's a big girl.
Is that a buck or a doe?
It's a doe, full size.
How much meat you think is gonna dress out to be?
I mean, Dad, I will figure that out sometime tomorrow, but she's a good size. So V, my mentor, is here with me, and this is a lot.
You've already field dressed it.
Yes. Yep. So V showed me how to do that, because you don't need to take that stuff with you, right? Hey, Dad, the first of many. You got to join me next year.
Robert, that's your sister.
You got to join me next year.
That's your sister, Robert.
Hey, Dad, this is my mentor V.
Hey, how's it going? Sorry, I got.
Hey, how you
Well, now you can
doing?
see me.
Yes.
Tell the truth. Who shot it?
She shot it. She shot it and she dropped right in her tracks. We didn't have no tracking job or nothing.
Wow.
Yeah, Dad. Dad, I told you,
Wow.
I'm a good shot.
She is a really good shot.
Oh,
true.
oh.
No, it's true.
Okay.
All right, Dad, but hey, it's late. She's still got to pick up her baby,
Okay,
so
yeah,
we'll go. But I wanted to call you.
Tomorrow. We'll get some pictures tomorrow when it's daylight.
Okay, so this is the part of the story where things start to get wild, because the place that I was hunting at was not like in the woods. I was at a nature center. So if you're in Maryland, it's the Irvine Nature Center, which is essentially an outdoor school. So, I mean, this place is open to the community, schools kind of like come here. And so there wasn't a place for me to kind of park my dough like in a cooler. I was going to have to take her home. Yes, home to my townhouse. And y'all, I don't even have a tree in my backyard to hang this dough. So we suspended her on the deck. And y'all, at this time, things were nutso because my husband's work schedule is crazy. He wasn't going to be home until like close to 1 a.m. the following morning. And so, I mean, V's just so good, right? She's like, we're gonna do this, da 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 da. Like, okay, you go to the top, I'm here. Like, she did some more cuts on it so that it could like cool off. And this is where I was actually so appreciative that we went hunting at this time, because during that Arctic blast, like the highs between like those 2 days was just 24 degrees. So it was perfect. Okay, so this story builds because the next day was Christmas. So obviously V's gonna be with her family, but I had to get to work on harvesting this meat. And so look, I did what a lot of us do. When you want to learn something, you go to YouTube and you start watching a couple of videos. Now, I will share this because I want to be 100% transparent. I mean, this is not the idyllic story, which is why I like to just tuck it in my pantry chats, because I cannot make this a whole video. I'm not an expert at all. I'm appreciative that I have harvested, you know, chickens and turkeys, because that's what I was kind of like comparing things to as I was going through this process. But it was not the best job, y'all. It wasn't the best job. I had to work, as I said, on a clock, because I think the following day the temperatures were going to be like back up above like 35 degrees. Maybe it was almost 40 degrees. And yeah, so this was not perfect, because I know like a lot of you out there actually are hunters. So please, like, don't come for me. I really did the best that I could. Well, good morning, y'all, or should I say Merry Christmas, and welcome to the space underneath of my deck where I've had my dough hanging since, I guess we wrapped everything up at around 10 o'clock last night. So I am on a time crunch this morning between butchering my dough. I think I can probably get started because I know I'm going to be painfully slow. And then I've also got to get Christmas dinner on the table, because I was not anticipating doing this. I mean, I was and I wasn't kind of thing. So in case you were wondering how I'm doing this, I'm going to be texting my mentor this morning, just with the timing of it being Christmas and all. She's not able to come over, which is fine, but I am literally, she sent me some good like YouTube videos. So that's what I'm going to be using. I'm going to prop my phone up on my composter over here, and I'm just going to take my time. Now, this is actually the part of the process as a hunter that I believe that I'm going to enjoy the most. I love just like harvesting meat and like doing all of this. I don't know, it's just, it feels like it's my jam, even though I haven't tried this before. So I'm just gonna give myself plenty of grace. Your first time isn't perfect. There's muscle memory that kind of builds up over time, but I cannot imagine, like, this is the best way to wake up as an adult Christmas morning. I'm still so just like, I fell asleep so easy and fast last night, and I woke up with such excitement this morning to do this. So
I prefer processing a deer with the rear end up, hung by the back legs. I find that's much easier and cleaner.
Okay, so I think I just removed all of the skin around the anus. All right, y'all, so this is what I've got so far. I've just cut around here and here, and the next are gonna follow between the brown and the white and connect it to the anus. And this is what will allow me to hopefully just like
pull it off in a sleeve motions. I did it. Okay. This is what we got. Oh gosh. I still have the tail attached. I did not do this part right. This isn't right, but okay. Guess what I got? I'm excited, but also like, huh? The neck, actually, the neck. So I was going for this area, but I was
Got it in the neck?
yeah. I didn't think when I was looking through my scope that that's what I did, but that's why it dropped immediately. I can get ready to show you the puncture. Yeah.
That's pretty clean.
I could have done a lot better, only because I'm comparing myself to like how I am with chickens and turkeys. You know, like I did puncture the meat a couple of places, Dad, because you just have to like, now that I kind of know by feel once I'm in there, I'll keep improving, of course, but the me that has done this with smaller animals is like, no, I nicked it, I punctured it. It's okay, Cass. I keep telling myself, like, it's okay. You just.
What are you gonna do with all that meat today?
So I'm just going to break it down. I have got to get ready to stop and go in because now I need to cook dinner because Uncle Gary's coming over today. So I have like, I got up, I was like, go, morning goal, get your hide off, cook, come back out.
So you got enough room in your freezer to put that whole deer?
Oh yeah, that's actually why. Remember all the things that I cooked for you and Mom? All those meals?
Oh, okay.
I pretty much cleared my freezer out.
Okay, that's what I was wondering. I was like, oh my God, where's you gonna put all of that meat?
Exactly, and then I'm gonna take this to the tannery. This is my first, so yeah.
Have they had them sawed yet?
No, I don't think I want them to.
Why not?
I don't think it's allowed for like the HOA. That's why I have it on this side. I have it covered. Yeah,
okay.
Exactly. That's why I'm on a clock too, Dad. Right?
Okay.
I've got to get this done. Yeah, and especially Monica. I did show Monica and Kevin. They were super excited. I know that they won't mind, but I'm like, you know. Yeah. And oh, that wasn't a snub to my neighbor, but I do happen to live next door to the HOA president. And so our community runs it to help keep costs low, but we do have some HOA rules that just make absolutely no sense. So let me share a couple of them with you. So for example, you have to keep grass in your backyard, which is why I don't have an in-the-ground garden bed back there like I can. Another thing is that, so out front, I have like lots of trees, which is awesome for the shade, but I would also like to plant some flowers and stuff like that in this small little spot that I have. But because it's so shady, and I spent years like trying to plant like different things, but like everything died because there's not enough sun. So I got the bright idea to use artificial flowers and just like pluck them in the ground. It looks so good, but that's another HOA violation. But luckily, my husband also volunteers on the board. So like we have to have a parking pass where we are, and if you don't have a parking pass and like your car can get towed, it's like, yeah, y'all, like I have an HOA. It's the house at the time was perfect, but there were compromises. Anyway, okay. And also, we do have a really good relationship with our community members. And I would say that that is our saving grace because we are very pleasant neighbors. I mean, we have dinner with Stan and Sheila all of the time. They have seen like the journey of me becoming a farm girl and that kind of thing. Plus, I gave Stan and his wife Sheila a gallon of deer meat, and that's been enough to keep him quiet. I think one of my saving graces was that it was Christmas Day, and no one wants to ruin Christmas. Plus, Stan did eventually come over, and I showed him my dough. He was really impressed. I was like, Stan, don't tell me. I'm gonna have this down by tonight, and no one will ever know. Y'all, this whole experience was wild because when I pulled in, like we do have a truck, and then, you know, we had to like pull the dough around, like, so I'm this townhouse and there are like 2 more, so we had to like drag it around like the grass to like the back and then like hang it up. Then after we did like all that stuff and it's almost like 10:30, I still had to come back out to the main parking lot because there was like blood coming out of the tailgate. Oh my gosh. So then I'm like in my truck and I'm like hauling water to like splash it like down, you know, like the parking lot. So like no one would think like, what the heck is happening here? And yes, I did eat the heart and liver because they are super nutrient dense. All right, y'all. So this is my breakfast this morning. I wanted to try some of the liver last night, but I was just running off of adrenaline and I was so excited and exhausted at the same time. And so as I was plating this up, I again was getting a little emotional because I'm just so appreciative of how this meal got to my plate. And even the fact that I can say that I'm about to eat liver from an animal that I just harvested from the wild. And I'm just so appreciative. So I grew up eating liver, and so this isn't like, the taste will be, I'm trying to see, I've never had liver this fresh, obviously. And so I'm trying to discern if there may be a little bit of a taste difference. My mentor V was telling me that she likes to eat her liver within the first 24 hours. And so this is some of the liver. Usually what I do, y'all, and what I'll do after this, actually, I'll eat this like this, but then I will put like liver with some fried onions, with some of the runny yolk from the egg. Y'all, that's just how I love it. All right, so let's go ahead and taste test. Smells, maybe the aromatics are slightly different because it is from a deer. Okay, yeah, it's liver. So again, it's a taste that I am very much accustomed to. However, I know that this liver is super fresh. It's really good. There's like a back end part where maybe I could distinguish it to be like, oh, this is venison. But it's really good. So I normally do this, and then, oops, can you see me? Here's what I'm doing with my plate. So I'll take some of the liver, I'll put the onions on there, scoop up a bit of my runny yolk. Oh gosh, come on, get on here. Oh, there we go, there we go. And I just put the whole thing in my mouth. Like, that's how you have to do it. You have to have like the multiple flavors going on. Okay, and this is the heart. The heart is really good. It has that like steak cut texture to it. Okay, y'all, so it is a few, oops, not there. Not there. Okay, maybe, let's do it over here. My backyard isn't exactly flat and this concrete slopes. So it is a few hours later, not a few hours later, it's now almost 7 o'clock. You hear Thor in the background. And so I went in, I cooked the whole shebang for Christmas dinner. My uncle came over, we all had a good time. And now I need to get back to breaking down my meat, which I'm gonna go ahead and do. It's perfect weather. I think it's like 35 degrees. Yeah, it's like 35 degrees right now. And so, yeah, let's get back to it.
You're gonna have to work your knife around the pelvic bone in the back. There can be some weird angles here. Just try to find that bone and cut around.
smells really good.
It's gonna be right in here.
Okay, I need to get ready to wrap this up, so I'm gonna look at some of my notes, and I wanna share some more of my learning experiences, because I know that there are many of y'all that can connect with wanting to learn how to hunt, but you're kind of like me where you like don't have any like context for this. But I had these skills, and I explained this in my previous video, where like I had these gradations of experiences where I feel confident enough to like engage in this and to continue to like learn how to hunt. But one of the things I can tell you, this is not going to be PC to say, but it's the truth, and I'm going to say it. Next time, I am absolutely shooting Bambi. Now, as a reminder, Maryland has an exploding deer population, which is why they invited us out there, you know, in the first place. And they're starting to do that more, where it's like outdoor centers and, you know, that kind of thing. But y'all, I shot Bambi's mama, and that was a full-grown woman. I mean, I didn't have any way of weighing her, and V was like, oh, this is at least 200 pounds. And I will say, with that much kind of meat and doing that by myself, that was just like beyond the cusp of work where like I could handle that, especially the timeline that I have. And so I definitely now know that, and you kind of already know this as a hunter, you don't want to take a shot for something that you cannot like fully utilize. And so even if I had the opportunity to take a shot at a buck, I would not, because it would just be, again, by myself. It wouldn't be the responsible thing to do. But yeah, having something that maybe was a little bit smaller would have been more ideal, because it was a lot of work. In fact, y'all, after I finished harvesting everything, everything has been in the freezer, because I was just like body sore in a good way too. Also a little bit tired, but I do want to pull some of that out of the freezer because I want to pressure can some. I need to start making jerky, you know, that kind of thing. Second, I am not ashamed to say that I am still scared of snakes, toads, and frogs, and I don't like mice. But yes, I'm absolutely comfortable with having a large-sized mammal hanging from my deck. And I say this because in my mind, I know that it's an irrational fear, because seeing black snakes in your garden is a sign of health, and the same is true for frogs and toads. Because I think there can be this perception that because I enjoy hunting, maybe I'm not scared of anything, and that ain't true. Now, I'm going to say this because this is kind of how you feel. I remember just saying to V, I was like, I'm a hunter now. And, you know, even when I would like wear my gear like out, you feel kind of counterfeit, because I was like, oh my goodness, if someone were to ask me how the season's going, and I would have to say, well, I have a big fat 0 on the scoreboard. I mean, but now I walk around and I'm the first one to ask, so, how's your season going? Also, y'all, I am so proud of my basement freezer, because I already have it stocked with clearance lamb and ham. I have the organic cuts of meat that I've been sharing with you, and all my other marked down meats that I, you know, find as I go shopping. And now I have an entire dough in my freezer. Like, that is a farm freezer. Girl, you can't tell me nothing. And I also say this, if you want to learn how to hunt, get connected with a mentor and do it. Start imperfectly, start with what you have. Like, I don't have all the gear, whatever else, I'm going to take my time building up. You don't need the fanciest, you know, equipment to do that. I am telling you, there is so much that you're going to learn, the utility in the skill. I now have a way that I can access organic, regeneratively raised, you know, meat, and it's within my control, and that is awesome. I think probably over President's Day, I'll pull some of that meat out of the freezer and then start to can it, because I'll be off from work. And my goal for this year is that I absolutely want to shoot my first wild turkey. Wild turkeys are just gorgeous. Oh, they're gorgeous. Y'all, I cannot tell you how personally tickled I am that my boys are so proud of me. I mean, my dad can't wait to come back up so that he can make himself some deer jerky. And then my husband was in like the chief mess chat, just like sharing pictures and bragging about me. So I gotta make some jerky for the chief mess eventually, but yes, Yes, I did it. Need more inspiration, tips, or tricks on how to get the most out of a preservation kitchen? Click on the link on your screen. I'll see you in my kitchen or garden soon. Take care, friends.